Here comes the sun, I say it's alright.
People pulling the larger rocks from the mound. Moving into the field, we've got some of our permacultural students and a few volunteers removing some of those bigger rocks to allow plenty of room for our new sweet potatoes. Planted this about 2 months ago. It's been here for probably 60 days. And we've got some more variegated in here. So right here we've got an example of 2 different kinds, or 2 varieties of sweet potato right here in the same patch, which is pretty cool. Wheelie the vines or cut them off. Wheelie is to encircle them around the origination point of the potato, where the potato is in the ground or the vine starts in the ground. Yeah, she's cutting from wherever that vine attaches to the ground 2 feet out. You guys want to check this out as far as cutting these? I'm going to estimate the length at about 18 to 20 inches. I want to cut it near a node because if we have too much of this extra stem below the node, there's a chance that this could end up rotting and causing some problems to the rest of that slip. So we'll cut that right close to that bottom node. And then I want to strip off most of these bottom leaves because they're not going to do much for us once it gets buried. And I want to leave the top 3 or so leaves on. So here's our first one. And you can see it's a fairly stout branch. Feel that, Cleo? Right?
Oh, yeah.
As opposed to say one of these newer ones. It's a little looser. Now we get to the interesting part where we get to do some biocommunication. In the planting portion of each class, we hope to establish that communication early on so that the plants understand what we're trying to do. We're hoping to propagate them, and they're going to develop into some wonderful food for us, so we handle them accordingly. And the Hawaiians had all sorts of spiritual practices around each plant, and we try to incorporate as many of those as we can, as well as respecting the permaculture aspect of the planting process. And biocommunication is really important. It's around for you guys. At these nodes, you'll find little sprouts that come out, and that's the up direction. Okay, you want those little sprouts coming out at the nodes facing the sun or reaching towards the sun. So this one would be stripped of all the leaves on the bottom. We want to leave 2 or 3 leaves at the top, and this much of it's going to get buried. And it's just as easy as this. And you see what I'm doing here? I'm working with the pointed end of this cultivating tool, mainly because that's where we start. Because if we start with the scoop end, we might be pulling a little more material out than we really need. All right, so let's let that rascal get right in there. We're going to cover it up. And we want to remember to loosen the soil up around it, right? Keep it nice and loose. Gonna help that potato get a really good start. Just like the Hawaiians would have done it. And we're gonna just press that gently down around that vine to create kind of a reservoir for water and also give that vine a little bit of security. Okay, so it's just that easy. The idea is we're setting the uala in place. The plants are put in with really loose soil around them to promote easy growth of the tubers once they start, and setting up the plants with this little divot using the toes similar to the way the Hawaiians would have done it. It's really fun. It's a great feeling to get your toes in the dirt, and it's a great way to get that communication with the plant also. Banana leaves work really well because they have water in them, and you have to shred them up a bit so that they don't shed too much of the rainfall. What works best, I'm finding, is our lemongrass as a mulch ground cover because it has a tendency not to sprout from the cuttings, and it retains water, and there's also a lot of calcium and nutrients locked into those cuttings, those lemongrass cuttings, so that when we actually put them on the soil and they start to break down, a lot of those minerals and the micronutrients end up back in the soil. So
Cuba. Yeah, Julia.
Yeah, the mulch is an important piece of all this that happens in the planting process for a couple of reasons. It helps protect from too much rain hitting the ground and leaching out the nutrients, and at the same time it helps supply nutrients as the green mulch breaks down. There's all sorts of moisture and elements like calcium and nitrogen that are released into the soil, and it also promotes the growth of the bioflora, the different beneficial bacteria that help promote life in the soil. And there we've got it, an uala bed planted out and covered with ground cover mulch, and another beautiful day at Hawaiian Sanctuary, creating more abundance, more food, and a super high vibe. And mahalo nui loa. Thanks for joining us once again for Hawaiian Sanctuary's permaculture. And live, learn, love, and laugh. Aloha.